What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the 1796 Sports Podcast. Um, Tennessee men's basketball loses in the Elite Eight to Houston. Wasn't really ever a game, and it was sad to see it go down that way. Jim, overall thoughts on that game? I don't really feel a need, unless you do, to break down the game. X's and O's wise. Tennessee just got beat, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's there. We've I wanted to talk about it before the podcast even started, but I haven't seen a worse start to a basketball game, and we compare it to the Florida game on the road, whatever. But it was just I don't think we hit a three until like the 16th three we shot. It looked like this team was lost. And hey, I'm giving all the credit to Houston. They played
Yep.
fantastic defense and they were hitting their shots. I mean, when you we they kind of did what we did to Kentucky. They got a 20-point lead and playing a defense like that, it's not impossible, but it's very very close to impossible to come back from that feat. So, I mean, I hate to see Zakai go out like that, Meshack, Lanier. I hate to see it, but you know what? I I think next year is going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay. Um, but yeah, today there's no breaking down the game. He just played poorly, shot poorly, didn't
Yep.
play defense that well. But yeah,
I think you said it perfectly. We did to Kentucky what Houston just did to us a few hours ago. Every time Tennessee tried to, make a push there in the second half, Houston had an answer. Uh, Tennessee eventually got it down to 10, and then Houston hit three pointers in a row. So that was that. But like you said, just they couldn't overcome that terrible start. Second half was actually tied. It was 35-35. I'm pretty sure. So really, the first half you just weren't able to overcome it. And like you said, all the credit goes to Houston. They're clearly, I'll say this even clearly, the committee got it right with the one seeds this year because
oh yeah,
it's all chalk, all one seeds to the final four. But it's just disappointing to see them go out like that, especially Ziegler and Chaz having really bad days shooting wise, and just the whole team really. Besides Jordan Gainey, Jordan Gainey was the only one who could score consistently during that game. But like I said, I don't feel a need to break it down further than that. Big picture wise, though, I know you touched on it on your comments there. Like, what do you think brought this team down in the end? And I know the obvious answer is, they didn't make enough shots, but you got anything else that brought this team down in the end?
uh, Houston was like killing us on the offensive rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like they had second chance opportunities almost every single possession, and it killed Tennessee. I feel like it killed your motivation. Um, but that really is what stuck out to me. They had 14 offensive rebounds, man.
Yep.
That and all of them, almost all of them, I feel like were points. So it's okay. Sometimes, hey, you have an offensive rebound, they miss, whatever, you get it back, whatever. No, they finished all their shots. Their guy, Crier had a terrible game against Purdue, had a good game against Tennessee. I mean,
Of course. Yeah.
and it happens, man. It happens, and um, you know what? You got to the Elite Eight. What are we complaining about? Do we want to
Yep.
see a Final Four? Absolutely, yes, absolutely. But you know, when you're in the Elite Eight every year, I mean, I'm not gonna complain.
Well, I mean, eventually, if you keep getting to the Elite Eight, you're going to break down the door at some point. You'd think. I mean, it's the second straight year Tennessee's played to their seed line, which I think really, to me, and I know a lot of people would disagree. I think it puts to bed the Barnes and March thing these last 2 years. Like he's won 6 games in March the last 2 years. That's nothing to get down on him for. And furthermore, what can you even tear us into Barnes over from today's game? Like, can you think of anything?
Uh, yeah, let Barnes shoot the threes. I mean,
Yeah,
like I said, I was in the group chat the whole first half. It was just chucking threes, um, and making 1 out of 17 or whatever it was in the first half.
yeah,
But you know, Tennessee, this team, this is the team I would love. I wish Dalton Connect was on, because imagine having a Chaz Lanier and a Dalton Connect, because everyone knows. I mean, you stop Chaz, you stop a lot of the offense.
yep.
So that's my question to you is like, what at this point? I mean, we got them dismantled. Um, it is what it is. But what do you expect Tennessee to do in this offseason? I mean, obviously guard play is a huge key. I mean, dude, they have to overhaul. All you have is Bishop Boswell. I
Yep.
mean,
I mean, we were kind of in the same position last year, having to replace a lot of players because Adu left, Awaka left, Connects left, Scovey left, Jordan James left. Um, I mean, we have two guards committed. We have a shooting guard, Namari Evans, and Troy Henderson committed just a few days ago. Then you have Dwayne Brown from Alabama. So there's your high school recruits, and then much like last year, we'll find out the names that Tennessee's interested in probably by the end of this week, if not earlier.
well, we already found one. Virginia guard Isaiah McNeely,
Mm,
uh, averaged 16 points a game, I believe, and coming from Virginia, who's normally a really good defensive team. So I'm gonna expect Rick Barnes to really nail that one, and I think he'll be in the bag. So that's a
yeah,
big to me. That's a good guard. Obviously, I don't know if it's gonna be as Zakai Ziegler, but someone to put in the bag. But man, Rick Barnes has to do his magic. You get
yeah,
you're losing Lanier, you lost Connect, obviously. Hard to replace that, but you
yeah,
have to get scorers. I know he's defense first, but you have to get guys that could score. Like have to. Like not even a question.
yeah. I mean, the four that he brought in last year, the only one I think you can really call a huge disappointment is Dubar. Igor certainly didn't play well the last 2 or 3 weeks, but he still came out your leading rebounder. I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. But yeah, I mean, we were kind of in the same spot last year, if you remember. Like
Yeah.
we said last year, like, will we ever be this close again? Because Connect was such a transcendental player. He was just amazing to watch. And then we're same position this year, which speaks to Rick Barnes. Like, it's really amazing that we're even in this spot to begin with, because for better or worse, we played a 7-man rotation.
Yeah,
For
and oh my
and
god.
then sorry, and then you add in JP's injury and Cam Carr up and leaving, and it's even more impressive what they were able to do.
Now do you think Cam Carr could have made an impact on this team?
Sure, yeah. I mean, just you added another guard. I mean, at one point, Cam Carr was compared to. I mean, this is probably horseshit, but he was compared to Kobe at a camp before. We never saw that, but who knows what he
I
could have
mean, you saw
contributed.
spurts of like very athletic kid,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I
yeah,
loved watching Cam Carr whenever he was in the game last year and the early part of this year. I thought he was, like you said, just super athletic, and it's a shame that he had either made up
someone in
decision
his ear.
or that he made up the decision himself or someone was in his ear. But I think that as long as Rick Barnes is here, Tennessee's going to win 20 games a year and be in the tournament. It's just, can he rebuild again and get this far again? He did it last year. Do you? And I'll ask you this now. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but do you think Barnes comes back?
Yeah, and the reason I say that is you look at McNeely, you have transfer portal guys coming in. They're not coming to a team that is going to lose their coach. Now, I don't know how long he's going to be around, but everyone thought, even me, I thought Zakai, once he was done, Meshack was done, that Rick was going to, hand over the keys. I just don't. I don't see that happening. I think I think Rick is going to coach a couple more, uh, and I don't think it's going to be one more. I think he's going to coach a couple more. But I think Rick Barnes needs to go get an offensive big man. He needs
Yeah,
somebody of some sort that could score.
yeah, I totally agree with you. And he said as much on middle of last week when he was asked about it before Tennessee played Kentucky. Um, Somebody asked him, "Is this your last year?" Have you even? And he said he hasn't even thought about it. He plans to be back next year. And I think three guys committed in the recruiting class, like you said, points to that being true. I mean, like you said, a player doesn't come for a program they don't know who the coach is going to be. So,
Right. Exactly.
um, but yeah, when I asked you earlier, what brought Tennessee down in the end, and this goes the whole year for me. When Tennessee goes through these shooting slumps and they can't, you know, hit water if they fell out of a boat, it's real nice to have a post guy that you can pass the ball to and you can, get on the block and score. We never had that. Um,
Now the closest thing you had was Adu, and Adu wasn't a Janai Broom. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're not going to get a lot of Janai Brooms in college basketball, but like that's someone you need to where you could ask him to get 7 points, eight
yeah,
points, you know. But
yeah, it's really the only way Okpara scored this year was off lobs and putbacks, which is fine. I mean, I think Okpara was awesome this year,
yeah, he's
and
going to be a great piece next year.
and I'm looking forward to him. I'm looking forward to watching him play. But if he can't develop, that back to the basket, post game, like you said, we're gonna have to find somebody who can, because when you try to shoot yourselves out of slumps, you get what happened today in the first half. The one of 15, 16, whatever team it was, and you get buried by a team in Houston who already plays good defense, and then you're having to shoot contested shots. But maybe JP was going to be that guy. I don't know, but we never found that out. So this is the last thing I'll say on basketball. Um, with Rick Barnes at Tennessee, as fans, we are happy more often than not. We had we were 30-8, so we were happy 30 times and sad 8 times. I mean, that's pretty good. That's a lot better than a lot of programs.
Right.
When you make two Elite Eights in a row, you're a good program. And I'll ask you this, and I think I know the answer after talking about this for the last few minutes, but if you were Danny White, do you let Barnes, coach out his tenure and then make a change, or do you make a change before that?
I think you let it ride. I think until he proves otherwise. I think if Rick doesn't make a tournament, I think you could ask that question and really, you know, he might force it,
Yeah,
just because his age and hey, you're a Hall of Famer, we appreciate what you did, type stuff.
yeah,
And it might, hey, you know what? Next year, people take it for granted right now, but next year might be an ugly year. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know what you're going to get in the portal. You don't know. You just don't know.
yeah,
It's a bunch of questions that if he doesn't make the tournament next year, yeah, I could see Danny White making a move, and because you can't, like look at South Carolina. I mean, they had a bad year, and look at what they're doing in the portal already. I mean, you got Eli Ellis who's coming in, who is an absolute stud. I mean, that kid can shoot the hell out of a basketball. And then you get Eagle Staff, that guy that was averaging a crazy amount of points. They're making moves, man, and that's what Rick's going to have to do and have to keep up with, to you know, like I said, if he makes the tournament, I think you just keep rolling with it. But
yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't know how next year's going to go.
It's I 100% agree with you. I'm letting him coach out his tenure, whether it be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, however long it is. He's just too consistent to let go when you don't know what the answer is after he's gone. And based on Tennessee basketball history, he's the best ever. But I'm just wondering because at some point, do we get tired of coming up short on the brink of our first Final Four? And I won't because I've seen an actual bad Tennessee basketball program before. So as long as we're making the tournament and winning 20 plus games a year, I'll be okay. But it's just something to chew on there. Yeah, any more thoughts on basketball before we move on to baseball?
No, you got to go kill it in the portal. You have to.
Yeah,
Like,
if he does as good as last year or better, Tennessee might be in the Elite Eight again, knocking on the door.
how many people do you expect? To me, I think you have to replace Zakai, Meshack, Gainey, and Lanier. I think you need 4 at least.
I think he's going to fill out the scholarships this year, like
Oh,
because
plus you have to replace Cam Carr.
yeah, I mean you 6 seniors, Cam Carr, that's 7, and then we might have a transfer or 2 out of the program too. So I think he's going to fill out the roster. I
I
think that
don't know.
there will be plenty of players coming in.
Now, do you expect anyone to leave? I don't think so. I think Akpar stays.
The only thing I could see would be Cater Estrella because I think one of them cannibalizes the other's minutes, but
I can
still,
see Cade. I feel like Estrella is going to be. Or actually, I might see Estrella. I don't know, man. I just feel like they both love Tennessee. I think they might stay,
yep,
and I think they both earned. Well, Phillips definitely earned a shot. You
I
know,
agree.
he did very well. But again, he's a defensive center. I mean, they're all defense guy. You need a guy that could score. You need
Back
a
to the
guy.
basket. Back to the
Yeah,
basket.
those guys. I'm not saying they can't because obviously I don't know, but I'm just saying like you just need someone like that. But other than that, yeah, I think you have to kill it in the portal. You have to.
Yeah, and I really don't. It doesn't seem like anybody's going to last year. I mean, this year. I mean, you can never have too many big men. And that's pretty much all Tennessee has left on the scholarship besides Bishop. So, but anyway, number one Tennessee baseball Volunteers with another sweep. Um, a lot of timely hitting, walks. I don't know if you knew this, but South Carolina actually out hit the Vols this weekend, but it didn't matter because like I said, timely hitting it's important.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the business trip down in Columbia?
I think we found our infield.
Me
Um,
too.
I
Yep.
think I think Antigua has stapled himself into this lineup. And hey, I've always been a fan of Antigua. I mean, I thought he just never got consistent at bats,
Mm-hmm.
and he's been having great at bats. And he saved the Saturday game with that excellent play to third base. I
Incredible.
mean,
Yeah.
to me. I mean, I'm sure you agree. He saved the game. I mean,
Yeah.
if that
Yeah.
gets through, I mean, run scoring probably no out. I mean, whatever it was, but yeah, I think we found our infield, and we don't even have Keelan. Keelan's hurt.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to shout out Tegan Coons, man. Tegan Coons is doing his thing, and I think he stapled it. I think this week has put him into his numbers are absolutely ridiculous. I'm actually gonna pull this up real quick before I 20.1 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 15 hits, 19 strikeouts between him and Kenzel. Those two are Sunday guys.
Crenzel. Yeah.
Yeah, Krenzel.
That that duo the last 2 weekends. I think that's your Sunday duo until something changes. I mean, it's worked beautifully. I mean, you allowed the least runs on Sunday over the weekend. It was what was it 7-2 today?
Yep.
Um, both allowed 1 run. I mean, you can't ask for too much more from a Sunday, pitching platoon than that in the SEC. Like, and I've said this before, but most teams go, full bullpen day on Sunday, even in the SEC, because you don't have more than two, for sure starters on the weekend. Um, but batting wise, Dylan Bargo stays scorching hot, 6 hits on the weekend. You already mentioned Antigua. When he gets the at bats, he's very. It's going to be very hard for me to be okay
Take
with him
away the
not.
glove.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very hard for me to not see him in the lineup. Like, and plus, Curley looks better at third anyway.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
he looked phenomenal since he's moved.
He looks way more natural in that spot. And like the odd man out, I guess, would be Manny. And Manny off the bench in a pinch hit situation, I love. I like that more than Antigua. You know,
Yeah.
so I would want Antigua short, Killing second, Curly third, Fisher first until something
Bar
changes.
Yeah, and you keep Abernathy in left and Bargo as the DH. I mean,
Yeah,
Bargo is seeing the ball so well, it's crazy. I mean, this kid is destroying the ball, and like I said, we're doing this without our best hitter. I mean,
yep,
Dalton Bargo is he's pretty much saying that he's the best hitter on the team right now, and a lot of people don't even realize. I mean, Dean Curley's not at his full heel right now. I mean, Hunter Ensley playing fantastic again. Um, the whole team, Cannon Peebles. I hope that home run woke him up because
yeah,
if we get the Cannon Peebles from NC State, the, this team's almost unbeatable.
yeah. I was very happy to see Cannon do that on Saturday after just looking. I don't know what happened on that play at the plate. He should have had him. I don't know how he missed the tag, but I was very happy to see him redeem himself quickly with that 2-run home run. And on Saturday, that was Tennessee's offense. 3-run by Chapman, 2-run by Fisher, 2-run by Peebles. And then I was going to ask you this: are we worried about Levi Clark? Because
No,
he's still mired in that slump. I think he drew a walk Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
nah,
But
he's in his head, man. He's in his
yeah,
head, and it happens. I played baseball in high school, and you go through those just slumps where you just can't buy a hit,
yeah,
and we've seen it, man. Levi has so much potential, and get people they're forgetting he's a freshman. He's a
yeah,
freshman. It's gonna happen. The reason Jay Abernathy and all these guys are seeing the ball well is hey, their confidence is up. They're getting those at bats now, and Levi's not. And you got a guy like Dalton Bargo who's stepping up, and he's really not showing any type of reason for Tony to take him out of the lineup. And right now, you leave Dalton in there until he cools off.
yeah. 100% agree. Next up for Tennessee baseball, you got Tennessee Tech in the midweek, who's had our number.
Yeah.
you know, hope we can take care of them for the first time in a little bit. And then you have the much maligned Texas A&M Aggies coming in this next weekend to Knoxville. Um, and the hope is they don't, turn their season around in Knoxville. And the bigger question is, will Jeff Kent be there and the camera on him every 5 seconds, like it was in the College World Series?
You know who his dad is?
Jeff Kent, yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
his son. Sorry.
Caden Kent,
See,
yeah.
yeah, you know who Caden Ken is? Well, he's the son of Jeff Kent.
Oh,
But
that was annoying. Go ahead.
yeah, no, and a lot of people tend to, everyone's taking this for granted. I mean, we just swept South Carolina. You won the series at Alabama. You know, again, you're not going to sweep every team. You're not going to beat every team. Do we want to? Absolutely.
Yeah,
A&M was preseason number one for a reason. They're a great baseball team. They're in. I don't know what they're in. Coach Early is probably going to be fired in the end of his first season. But I'm just saying for us fans, including me, because I'll be the same way. But if we lose one, it's fine. It's fine.
yeah,
I mean, what are we 20? What's our record? I mean, we're 8-1 in conference play, right?
yeah. We are now 26-2.
Yeah. Okay. You drop a few here and there. Tennessee is cruising to a regional and super regional host. So just look at it like that. I mean, and we're doing this without AJ Russell. We're doing it without Keelan right now. I'm assuming Keelan's going to be back in the lineup for the home series, but from what I'm understanding, it's a pretty significant hamstring thing.
Yeah,
He came in to pinch hit at one point, which was nice to see. First pitch swinging, hit a ball right up the middle, which is great, but obviously they played the shift. But I mean, This team looks great, man. Every little aspect is doing good. I think you found your Sunday go tos. Um, and between Marcus Phillips and Liam Doyle, and then now Tegan Coons, Tennessee looks very dangerous uh, for another run.
Yep. Yeah, just focus on A&M this weekend would be what I would say because, like I said, and like you said, they started off awful, but they are still very talented. I mean, they could bust out against anybody. I think they're that talented. I mean, they still have Laviolette, Kent, a lot of the guys from last year's team. They still got a lot of those pitchers too. So just keep your eye on them and don't overlook them. Tennessee baseball. Lady Vols loss in the Sweet 16 to Texas. They were in the game, tied at the end of the third quarter, and then just some sloppy play in that fourth quarter just did the Lady Vols in. Overall, I think you'll agree 100%. I mean, just exceeded expectations in year one. Number one recruiting class coming in. There's nothing to feel too bad about. I just wish they wouldn't have gone down in that sloppy of a fashion there in that fourth quarter.
Dude, I don't know what it is about this year and this team. Any close game, it was like brain fart central,
Yeah.
turnover central in key moments because they had Texas on the ropes, man. Like they had
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity to take that game and just be like, "Yep, this is our game. We're taking it." Ruby Whitehorn, great player. No hate towards her. She's a fantastic basketball player and did a lot of good things this year. But 3 turnovers in a row,
Yeah. Tough.
and I think 2 of them out of the 3 had points to it. Um, now the refs, whoa, the refs were like blowing every whistle that you could even. I don't even know, dude. Every little trip, knick-knack, foul, foul, and it wasn't even on both sides. Listen, I'll tell you if it's both sides and it's bad refing, but it just felt like everything was a foul against us, and it is what it is. But hey, Kim Caldwell is. I'm gonna put it this way: I'm not. No one's near Pat Summit, but Kim Caldwell is the next Dawn Staley. I think, and Dawn Staley is probably the number one coach in women's college basketball, and she's earned it. But Kim Caldwell, with the recruiting she's doing, she's going to get nasty portal additions to come in next year. And I'm telling you, I think Tennessee is going to be a very, very dangerous team next year. And I think they're going to be a top 10 team next year, to be honest.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I agree with everything you said. It's just the first chapter in this Kim Caldwell era of Lady Vol basketball, and
Yep.
it's just the process of getting there and building that culture. And if you're building the culture and making a Sweet 16 and giving 30-3 or 33-3, whatever the Texas record was, a run for their money in the Sweet 16, you're starting off pretty well. So the other Lady Vols softball team takes the series at Oklahoma, breaks a long-standing home winning streak, back to back to back. I don't know how many more backs are in that defending national champions. Um, if they can play like that the rest of the year, Tennessee will get their first softball championship too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing, people. Would I love Tennessee to just stack their football team? Absolutely. But the fun fact is there's not a lot of programs out there that, hey, we lost in the Elite Eight. Kentucky lost in the Sweet 16. What are they watching? Nothing. The baseball team beat A&M, unranked A&M. I get to turn on the number one baseball team in the country. I get to turn on a top 25 softball team. I get to turn on, listen, Tennessee's good at everything, and there's a reason why you spread NIL everywhere. And it is what it is, man. I love that we're good at everything and that we could, really watch and get into, like the softball team. You get into the baseball team. You get into basketball. Women's sports. I mean, I never really was a women's sports guy until, you know, becoming a Vols fan, and now I really enjoy it. And Kim Caldwell, great coach to watch. Karen Weekly, even though a lot of people would disagree. I
I
like
I,
Karen. I like Karen Weekly,
I love Karen.
and There's not a lot of Karens I like, but yeah, Karen Weekly is one of them. But yeah, man, you go into the best. To me, Oklahoma's the best softball team in the country, and you beat them on their home turf. You can't complain. But I agree. I think Tennessee's got the pitching. Pickens is just nasty. I mean, fastest pitch ever recorded in NCAA history. Yeah, I don't know if this is correct, but correct me if I'm wrong. I saw that the equivalent to that in baseball is 110 miles an hour.
Yeah, when you count for the distance traveled, yeah,
That is absurd, bro. And you
that's
know what's
crazy.
funny? I'm pretty sure she's only what? She's only a junior
Oh,
or a
I
sophomore.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll tell you real quick. But you know whose record she broke that had the previous record of the fastest pitch in college softball history?
Let me hear it.
Monica Abbott, another VFL, who pitched a 77-mile-per-hour pitch in college. But Pickens is crazy good. Like you said, she is a junior. Um, so rest of this year, next year, if she wants it. I don't
Oh,
really know how. I don't really know how softball and leaving early goes.
no, they're not gonna. She won't. She. The, here's the thing with women. They're smart, and
I agree.
she'll get her degree. She will play for the Lady Vols until she can't no more, and then she'll go play.
Pro
Softball in the
softball, yeah,
pro softball. So she's young enough to do it.
yeah. I mean, when you're in the same breath as Monica Abbott, the best softball pitcher in the history of the sport, you're doing some good things. And here's to hoping she keeps it going. I mean, Monica Abbott threw 23 no hitters in 6 perfect games, and you're being mentioned with that VFL. So, and we also have the record for the fastest baseball pitch too. I mean, could you imagine if Ben Joyce and Carlin Pickens like get married and have a kid?
Right.
Oh, but yeah, that's what's going on in Vol Sports this week. I think swimming has been winning titles too over the weekend. So yeah, like you said, there's no off season. The only off season is July and then half of August or the first week of August until fall camp starts. I mean, it's remarkable, and there's nothing to hang your head about. I know we all wanted a Final Four. We all wanted Lady Vols to go further, but there's nothing to hang your head about. So, got anything else tonight, man?
Nope. I think we got a lot to look forward to in the future.
100%. Go Vols, baby.
Go Vols.